Okay, today I'm going to show you how to make these. We're going to make one that's sort of a medium size, but you can see that you can do these in all different sizes. And I've made these a lot. You might have even made them with me sometime. But they're really fun. They're fun to do and they're really cheerful when you put them up. I'll talk about things you can do with them when you're done. So I think the minimum amount of circles that you need to cut is 5, but it's better if you do 6 or 10. I just wanted to show you this one. I cut a little decoration in the ridge, which you can do with yours as well, or just leave it as a circle. Okay, so I don't have very many decorative papers with me today, but if you do, it's nice to put decorative papers in here. And it's important that at least some of the papers have a little bit of stiffness to them. I'm going to use some magazine cutouts, which are very thin. They're really fun as far as what the pictures can be, but you need to have a few papers that have a little bit of thickness to them, stiffness. Otherwise, your whole circle, your paper ball will be too flappy. So you want to decide what size ball you're going to make. And you need to have a guide. So my guide that I'm using is a lid, and of course this can be any size you want. I want to remind you that when you cut circles out of paper, you want to use just the edge so that you can do something else with the other side. And I might even be able to get 2 out of 1 sheet, but I don't know. I'll see in a sec. Can I get 2? No, just 1. But I could make a smaller circle. Okay, then I'm going to cut those out. And it doesn't have to be perfect, but your ball will be neater if you can cut on a line. You can even cut a few papers at once, which saves time. But I just want to show you I'm going to use a few magazine papers. So I thought this, especially covers of magazines are really good because they do have a little bit of stiffness. And the illustrations on this cover are so great. So I will cut that out. And then I can go through the magazine and see if there's any other pictures in it that I really think will be good on this. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and cut, maybe I'll do 8 on this one, but we'll see. I'll decide as I go. But I'm going to cut some more papers and then I'll be right back. All right, I have 8 circles cut out, and now I need to fold them in half. So you want the side that's going to be showing on your paper ball to be folded to the inside. And you want to try to get these just directly in half. So you can go ahead and fold all of those. Okay, I have my circles folded. So now I want to talk a little bit about what we're going to do with these. It is nice to put a string on the inside so you can hang them. And if you make a whole bunch, you could hang them all in a line. And you could just put smaller strings on them and then tie the strings together. You could hang them off of a string vertically like this so that they'll turn a little bit more like that. What I have done with some of my classes in the past is we've put them up outside in trees on our front walk, and we've added a word to it that we thought might be either funny or encouraging to people. And of course, these don't last forever if you put them outside. They'll get wet in the rain, but they do last a long time. They sort of can get wet and dry again. And it's kind of a nice thing for people walking by, can cheer them up a little bit. Or if you want to put them in your front windows, that's another nice place to put them. So you want to think about a string to put on the inside because you'll need to tape it to one of your half circles. So I cut this already, and you want to put at least 1 knot in the middle where it's going to be inside your paper ball. Otherwise, it can slip out. So I think I'm going to put a couple knots just to be on the safe side. And then I will take one of my half circles and I'm just going to tape it to the edge right like this. I've done this with glue before, but this is one instance where tape works a little better than glue, and you won't be seeing it because it's on the inside. So I will take a couple pieces of tape. You can use any tape for this. It doesn't have to be masking tape. And I'm going to tape that in. I want to have the tape pretty close to the top and bottom, but not showing, of course. And I'm going to use a glue stick to glue these together. However, if you don't have a glue stick, you can use regular glue. You just want to use a little bit. You would just put glue just on the edge and down the middle. But paper works best with glue sticks. So if you have those, I would use them. So you're going to glue all over 1/2 of one of your folded over circles, and then you are going to just stack them. So I'm going to glue this again, just gluing 1/2 at a time. And stack. Okay. All right, I have all of my circles glued, and one thing I forgot to talk about was it's a good idea to put your stiff papers in between your thinner papers, which I forgot as I was going. So I have a couple of thin papers next to each other, but it holds its shape a little bit better if you can get your, do a thick, thin, something like that. All right, so now the last thing to do is to glue my last half. And I want to be careful that I'm gluing off the edges and not gluing on the edges, because then I can get glue in here, and then I might glue my ball shut, which I don't want to. And then you just come around like this and put your last 2 halves together, and then you can spread your ball out a little bit, and you have a paper ball. So there are a lot of things you can do with this. I have made these into little books, which you can have, just have it be a cover like this. And sometimes it's nice to write a book about round things or draw round things if you're just using regular paper in here. They actually roll pretty well across the floor, which is kind of exciting. So you can do a book about balls if you wanted to write in it. Or, again, you can just hang this because they're pretty, especially when they're blowing in the wind. So if you wanted to add a word to it, you can cut out a piece of paper. I just did this out of a stiff piece of paper, made a rectangle, and cut the edges off. Hole punched a little hole right there with my hole punch. Then you can write a word, tie it on the bottom, and hang it up outside. If you put this on, it makes it blow a little bit better in the wind. So this is my son's that he made when he was in a class of mine when he was little. And I told everybody to pick a really good word. And this is the word that he came up with. This is a pretty good word, especially if it hasn't been raining for a while. And also, puddles are pretty great to splash in and to float things in. Okay, so I think you have all the information that you need. Oh, I forgot to say, if you don't have any glue at home, you can actually tape the edges of the circle together. So I would put a piece of tape here and here and here, and make sure that it stays pretty tight to the edges of where you folded it, and then it should work. But I'm assuming that you guys all have a little bit of glue somewhere. All right, have fun with these. If you want to, you can email me some photos of things that you've made, which would be great. Okay, I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.